conception
Supriya
of law.
Shrinate, national spokesperson of the Congress, coming in on that. Again, Supriya, the point is that it is the government that has the power to just take down whatever news item it wants. This is the worry here.
Nidhi, there are 5 points to this, and I'm not going to mince any words.
You've been in the media yourself.
Yes, exactly why. There are only 5 points. At the heart of this entire argument is freedom of speech and expression. But point number 1, the IT rules 2021, which were brought out in March of 2021, are in many parts of this country in courts. So what is the need to add a fresh amendment to it for public consultation? What is the rush? That's point number 1, because the IT rules themselves 2021 are under contention. The second, and I think this is a very important point, the PIB, the Press Information Bureau, which is a huge source of information for journalists and otherwise, and that's a huge interface, reports to the INB minister. And there's a huge conflict of interest. And may I also dare say in my point number 2, that also, other than the conflict of interest, we've seen a track record of the PIB fact-checking unit, fact-checking selectively, without any process, without any context.
No, I'm saying that. There's a lot of stuff they mark fake news without even saying how it's fake.
And the third very important thing is that at the heart of fake news, and quite ironically, is the BJP itself. BJP ministers, their MPs, their spokespersons, their heads of IT cells have been flagged off by platforms. Platforms have said misleading. Platforms have flagged off their content as saying fake news. Platforms have written this is this is not the right context. So what about that? I mean, first correct your own house, put your own house in order. And may I also dare say, this government has a problem with independent fact checkers. You want to jail and imprison independent fact checkers and they get relief from the highest court of the land, but PIB fact checking will be the last word. The last but not the least, and I think this is a very important point, even in this draft, we have no idea what is the consequence of this. What happens to an agency? Will you blacklist that? Will you cancel licenses? Will you imprison people? What happens on that? At the heart of this whole thing, and the most glaring example, and I will end by saying this, is when the report on Aadhaar being compulsory for children's nutrition program in schools came, the government's PIB fact-checking unit called it fake news. That news was called out as fake news. Then amendments were made to the Aadhaar law. Children were exempted from there. So who's going to then check the PIB fact-checking unit? I want to understand this.
Well, I think somebody needs to check the PIB fact-checking unit, which is why Gen Z is there.
It's about making a law and not thinking about the consequences. It's about making a law so brazenly and thinking people will just keep quiet there and take it all lying down.